The seer's place was far from the center of village. It sat where the forest and the savannah met, a place of transition. The air there smelt of dried lavender, burnt feathers, and ancient things. Inside, it was so dark that it took Abena's eyes minutes to adjust. The only light came from a single oil lamp and the red glow of a small charcoal brazier. The seer was a very beautiful woman. She didn't ask why they were there. She simply gestured for Kwame to sit on the floor. She took a clay pot and fetched out cowrie shells and polished river stones onto a woven mat. She studied them for a long time, his breath coming in ragged whistles. "A debt from the roots," the seer finally boomed. The sound was so loud, it made the clay pots on the shelves rattle. "Abena, you have been hiding a secret, and now your hair is on fire. Did you think the Adoma would forget? Did you think the forest does not keep records?" Abena fell to her knees. "Save him, Mama. He is innocent and just a little boy." In the spirit world, there is no innocent. There is only old. The dwarf child has already placed her mark. She has tasted his heart and she likes the flavor. She grabbed the collar of Kwame's shirt and ripped it open. Abena cried out of horror. "Look at this." Right over Kwame's heart was a bruise. But it wasn't a normal bruise. It was the perfect shape of a small, delicate hand, glowing with a faint, sickly violet light. As they watched, the bruise pulsed, thump, thump, exactly in time with Kwame's heartbeat. "The wedding has already begun," the seer whispered, her voice now full of pity. "She is drinking him. By the next moon, his body will be an empty shell and her spirit will be living inside it, walking on the streets while his soul wanders forever." Kwame looked up, his eyes momentarily clear. "I will not go," he rasped. "I am a human. I am not a toy for the forest." The seer looked at him with surprise. "You have iron in your words, boy, but the forest has iron in its grip. If you sleep tonight, you wake up in the village of the dead. There is only one way. We must go to the forest. We must meet Adoma, where the worlds touch. You must tell her no to her face, but you must have the strength to survive the answer she gives." The walk to the forest, it was not a walk through trees. It was a walk through a nightmare that had forgotten to end. The seer led the way, her wooden staff hitting the ground with a hollow thud, thud, thud that seemed to signal the heartbeat of the forest itself. Behind her came Abena, her cloth soaked with the sweat of a mother's terror, and then Kwame leaning heavily on the headhunter, Kofi. In the village, they tell you never to go deep into the bush after the sun has tucked its head behind the hills. They say the trees change places when you are not looking. Tonight, it was true. The path didn't just twist, it breathed. The vines, thick as a man's thigh, seemed to writhe like sleeping pythons. The air grew cold, not the refreshing cold of a Hamatan morning, but the damp, heavy cold of a freshly dug grave. "Do not look back," the seer hissed, her voice cutting through the thick mist. "If you hear your name called in your father's voice, do not look back. If you feel a hand on your shoulder that smells of wet earth, do not look back. The forest is trying to peel you away from the path." Suddenly, the trees broke open. Before them lay the sacred clearing. It was a perfect circle of white sand, dry bone even in the humidity of the jungle. In the center stood the giant tree, tall, with a small hole beneath like a tiny entrance. The moonlight hit the sand, making it glow with a ghostly silver light. And there, sitting atop the tallest tree, was Adoma. She looked smaller than before, but her presence was like a mountain. Beside her stood a creature that made Abena's knees give way. It was the girl from Kwame's dreams. She was beautiful, yes. Her skin was the color of a dark river at night, and her hair was adorned with fireflies that did not fly away. But her feet were that of a goat, her eyes gazing toward Kwame. "You are late, Abena. The moon is already reaching its peak. My daughter has waited a lifetime for this night. The rings are woven. The bed of moss is ready." The spiritual bride stepped down from the tree. She didn't walk, she glided, the fireflies in her hair casting long, flickering beauty. She reached out her hand toward Kwame, and the violet bruise on Kwame's chest began to glow so brightly it shone through his shirt like a lantern. "I cannot let him take him," Abena cried, stepping between them. "Take me. I am the one who lived because of a son. Take my soul instead." Adoma laughed, his sound like dry sticks breaking. "The forest does not want old wood. It wants the green branch. It wants the future. You made a promise. The debt is legal. The debt is binding."
Kwame pushed himself away from Kofi's support. He stood tall, though his legs were shaking like a leaf in a storm. He looked at the dwarf girl. For a moment, her beauty almost pulled him in, a promise of a life where he would never feel pain, never feel hunger, and never grow old. "Kwame, no!" the seer shouted. "If you touch her hand, the gate closes behind you." The girl whispered his name. She held out the ring of human hair. "I choose," Kwame said. His voice was small at first, then it grew, echoing off the trees. "I am Kwame. I am the son of Abena. My blood was bought with rain, yes, but my life belongs to the sun." "Silence, boy!" Adoma screamed, her face turning into something ancient and terrible. The wind picked up, howling through the clearing, whipping the white sand. "You are a debt. You are a piece of paper to be burned." "I am not a debt," Kwame roared. His voice now sounded like the great drums of the palace. "A debt is a choice. My mom made a promise before the giant tree and begged for rain and for a child. You never spoke of the price. I am the living and I choose my own path. I choose the dirt under my fingernails. I choose the sweat of the farm. I choose the woman I will love with my own heart, not a contract signed in the dark." As he spoke the word choose, a bolt of energy surged from his chest. The violet handprint on his heart didn't just glow, it shattered. The light that poured out was gold, the color of 1,000 harvest suns. It hit the dwarf girl, not with hate, but with the sheer force of life. The dwarf girl recoiled. For the first time, the violet mist in her eyes cleared, and for a fleeting second, she looked sad. She looked like a child who had been told she couldn't play. "The bond is broken," the seer chanted, throwing a handful of sacred herbs into the air. "The choice has been made. The living and the dead cannot share a bed when the living refuses the invitation." Adoma let out a wail that sounded like a fallen tree. "The barren, the rain, the promise." "The rain fell years ago, old one," Abena said, her voice now steady with a mother's iron strength. "My son is not your water, he is his own man." The ground began to tremble. The giant tree seemed to sink inches deeper into the sand. The dwarf girl began to fade, her bronze skin turning into mist, her fireflies blinking out one by one. She looked at Kwame one last time, not with hunger, but with a strange kind of respect, and then she was gone. Adoma stood alone at the edge of the tiny hole beneath the giant tree. She looked small now, just a tired, ancient creature. "You have won this night, Abena," Adoma whispered, her voice fading like an echo. "But the forest is always listening. The debt is paid in spirit, but the forest never forgets the way to your door." With a final swell of wind, Adoma vanished. The clearing went silent. The heavy, suffocating weight that had hung over the village for weeks lifted so suddenly it felt like a physical weight had been removed from their shoulders. Kwame collapsed, not as a dead man, but as a man who had just finished a marathon. He fell into the white sand, drawing in great, gasping lungfuls of the now sweet forest air. "Is it over?" he asked. looking up at the stars. The seer smiled, her beauty gleaming in the moonlight. "The moon has passed its peak, my son. Look at your chest." Kwame pulled back his shirt. The violet handprint was gone. In its place was a faint white scar, a reminder that he had looked into the eyes of the other side and chosen to stay. The sun began to peek over the horizon as they walked back toward the village. It wasn't the ashes sun of the previous days. It was a bright, bold African sun painting the sky in shades of orange and purple. As they entered the village, the dogs didn't hide. They ran out to meet them, barking and wagging their tails. The elders were waiting in the square, and when they saw Kwame walking on his own 2 feet, his shadow falling perfectly behind him in the morning light, a great cheer went up. Abena took her son's hand as they reached their hut. The fire in the yard was out, but the warmth in her heart was enough to heat the whole village. The death was gone. The forest was quiet. And for the first time in a long time, the silence was finally of peace.
Thank you for staying with me till the end.